All right. Welcome into a brand new Sports Hub Patriots podcast. After the bye week off, we are back. Alex Barth, Matt Dolloff, 98.5 The Sports Hub, 98.5thesportshub.com. Well, see, now you're two out of frame, Dolloff.
All right.
You got to at least get your head in there.
I get a little fidgety in
We were talking about this right before we came on the air. Anyway, here to talk about the Patriots' 30-17 loss to the Arizona Cardinals. That little quip is probably as lighthearted as the show will get. A brutal game. As always, we're going to start off talking about the coaching staff. Instead of posing the question to you, though, like we usually do, I'm just going to say this was a rough one. This was a rough one for the Patriots coaching staff.
You know how I feel at this point.
They looked like they were coming off of a short week, not a bye week. And the whole season was predicated on the idea that as long as you're better at the end than the beginning, as long as you're building towards something, you kind of go into year two with that momentum and you take it for what it is. Is it too late? They play the Bills twice and the Chargers down the stretch, so it's not going to be easy. But I don't know why. Like, they've played other games like this. I don't know. I have my theories. I don't know exactly why this one felt so seismic when it comes to the coaching. But it kind of did, didn't it?
Honestly, I mean, I don't know, Bart. I look back at the start of that game yesterday, rewatching it, and this has actually been a common theme in a lot of these games where they start better than the rest of the game looks. It starts to unravel after the first like scripted part of the game. And so like, I don't know. I go back to that first offensive drive. Like they missed the kick and they got a couple penalties.
Penalty forces them into the missed kick.
Right. And so like, I didn't think the play calling was horrible on that drive. And they made a few plays. They looked kind of ready to go, and like there were just a couple of plays where it's just like they don't have the horses at tackle on the offensive line in particular. Like there was a play where like maybe you could look at Alex Van Pelt for this play, but Demontre Jacobs knew what he had to do on this play where he's pulling all the way to the left. He's just not good. He just didn't get to his blocker in time, and like there was that play where they pulled him and Owenu made his block, Jacobs blocks nobody, and the play goes nowhere. I thought that was an example of, well, it looked like they coached him up, but he's just not a good player. And so I honestly look at the offense yesterday and say they really just don't have the talent. Like I think we could sort of nitpick a lot of the play calling stuff. I think Jerod Mayo nitpicked the play calling a little bit after the game, which we can get to.
Yeah.
But to me, it's still the defense. Like the defense, like even they got a stop on the first drive. Christian Ellis with a nice tackle.
Yeah.
But from there, it just went nowhere but downhill and just like leaving guys open. Cardinals 10 of 15 on third down. Like to me, the defense is still the biggest problem with the team when it comes to the coaching staff, especially when you have a defensive minded head coach who says over and over and over again after these games, we need to be better. We are what we say we are. We are what our record says we are. What does Jerod Mayo do? What does he do? Like this is the area of the team where he should be able to sort of zero in on it and make sure it's better than it's been. And they continue to look unprepared. And I think the fact that it feels worse than a lot of these other games, Barthy, is because they came out of the bye looking like that. Like you thought maybe I think a lot of us going into the game, like I heard you, I heard Murray and Gasper, I think Cerrone said, like, I feel like everyone picked the Patriots in that game. Like they liked the Patriots' chances because they're coming out of the bye. And it's like, oh, maybe this is a week where they actually have a good plan and they're ready to go because they had that extra week. It didn't just look the same, but honestly, you could say it's worse than the other games because they had that extra time to prepare, and it's just as bad as it's always been.
Yeah, so I picked the Cardinals 30-28, so I was half right. I got the 30. One more garbage time touchdown, I would have been right there. But it's not just they were coming off the bye. Like, we came in after that Colts game, and there were definitely issues within that game, but I thought that was their best offensive performance of the year. The defense situationally wasn't great, but had its moments in that game, right? And you looked at that and you said, all right, this might be their most well-rounded game of the year, which again isn't saying much, but okay, there's a sign of progress. You have 2 weeks to build on that. You're playing a team that the Cardinals had lost 3 in a row. Cardinals hadn't won since their bye week. You're playing a team that's trending in the wrong direction. It's not like you're going up against one of these Wonder Boy coaches like McVay. Jonathan Gannon is very bleh, and that might even be complimentary. It's Kyler Murray late in the year. It was like, all right, like here's a chance, especially with 3 really tough games late, get some footing, show you can build on something. And it wasn't even stagnant. It was regression.
Yeah, they went back
on both sides of the ball. You mentioned the 10 for 15 third down number, which is a good number to mention. The more jarring number to me, they were 0 for 6 offensively on third down. So Pro Football Reference, their data only goes back to 1991. That was just the third time since 1991 the Patriots have gone 0-4 on third downs in a game with 6 or more tries. One of them happened to also be at Arizona in 1991, which is weird. And then I didn't even.
It's a good year, 1991.
I didn't even remember this game. They went 0 for 11 against the Dolphins on Monday Night Football in 2017.
Really?
And they only lost 27-20
with Brady.
Yeah, I zero
Wow.
recollection of that game, and they only lost by a touchdown. It's
well, that's Brady, I guess.
At
Brady,
Miami for the Patriots.
Well, they didn't have Edelman that year, right? So
I
guess they probably struggled on third down that year.
Probably, but anyway, this was a far cry from that. I would have taken a 27-20 game.
I'll take Tom Brady.
Yeah, I'll take that. Absolutely. If the offense is going to move like it did in 2017, and we have to suffer through 1 0 for 11 third down game a year, I'll take that. I'll take that every day.
Only scored 30 in the Super Bowl, 33.
It's tough. But anyway, it felt like regression. There were a few bright spots. I thought Drake Maye, for what the game was okay. Obviously, Christian Gonzalez. Can we get this kid in the Pro Bowl, please? Like, what the hell are we doing? He's not even in the top 10. Top 3.
Really?
He's a top 3 corner in the league.
I haven't seen the voting or anything for the Pro Bowl. He's not in the top 10.
I don't know where he's at, but the last voting was 2 weeks ago, so maybe it's changed since. But
you can't name 10 cornerbacks better than Gonzalez. Come on.
No shot.
That's crazy.
Top 3 maybe is generous. I think if you want to say top 5, sure. But in terms of the production, in terms of what he's doing on the field, he's top 3 corner in the league this year.
Well, yeah, no, like I think people look at that. A lot of people aren't watching a lot of Patriots football. And I'm the same where like I'm not watching every single
the team
play,
is
every
not
single
helping
game.
him.
They look at how the team's playing, they look at the defensive numbers, and it's like, well, how good can he be playing, really? Right. But like
pretty good.
The fact that they have one of the best young quarterbacks in the league, and I think an elite number 1 cornerback right now, Christian Gonzalez. And they suck as bad as they do is just unbelievable.
Well, some of it is the inability to maximize those guys. And to go back to one of the points you made about the offensive line. So Mike Reese had this stat that in the first half, I want to pull it up to make sure I get it exactly correct, but I think I have it because I've mentioned this a few times now in other places, written in wherever. At the end of the first half, Drake Maye, he was 10 for 10. He completed all 10 of his passes. But yeah, here we go. According to Mike Reese, of all 10 of those attempts, all of them were thrown 5 yards or fewer downfield. So now look, are there deep routes he can maybe throw to that he's not? Yes, the quarterback's part of it. But you watch what they were doing. The screen on 3rd and 10 on the first drive, like set the tone right away. It was a very conservative game plan. Is there some general conservativeness in Alex Van Pelt's approach that's a part of that? I think so. Yes, absolutely. At the same time, doesn't it feel like some of that, like the offensive line clearly didn't have it. Vidarian Lowe gets blown by twice early in this game. Didn't even touch the defender. You saw what kind of day it was going to be. And we've seen them do this before, and they've even kind of talked about it. Do they see that and say, all right, we're not going to have time to throw the ball down the field, so get ready for the screens? Like,
I think that was it. Yeah.
I got that feeling too. And then you come out at the start of the second half, deep contested ball to Kayshon Boutte. It's like, all right, there it is. You got to show it. And then they went back to it. And then they, went back in the shell till garbage time. So, and it was a great throw to Kendrick Bourne when they finally did open it up again. I know people, he only does it in garbage time. Like, it's an impressive throw physically. So I'm not going to knock the kid for it. I thought for what the game was, Drake Maye played well. I think the play calling significantly limited him, both as a passer and a runner. We can talk about the 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. Now, look, I thought there was maybe a bad spot on that 3rd and 1. I thought he got it in real time, and they never showed a great replay of it. And I still haven't seen a great replay of it. But the reality is you have 2 chances in an NFL team down near your goal line to pick up 1 yard convincingly. The fact you can't do that is damning. And Jerod Mayo said this morning, and there's been this whole thing, again, we'll get into it, about whether or not to run Drake Maye. If you're ever going to do it, that was the time to do it. But one thing about that sequence to me that got lost in there, do you remember how they got down inside the 20?
Wish I could tell you off the top of my head, Barth. I'm sorry.
They get going on that drive. Ramondre Stevenson has a 10-yard run. a 15-yard run, or his 15 then 10, but he has 2.
Oh, was this the Gibson run?
Long runs and then the Gibson run.
Okay.
So you have the Cardinals kind of backed up now.
Yeah.
And then what happens? They have to call timeout because they can't get set. And you give all the momentum right there back, and not give the momentum to Arizona, but you allow them a chance to collect themselves. It was
that where they almost threw the delay of game flag? But
yeah, but they
Mayo
took the timeout in the third quarter.
Yeah.
It just, to me, encapsulated like the issues this year, where it's if you keep that team on their heels, maybe you get that yard. But because you couldn't get lined up, now they get a chance to catch their breather, and they get that what was a big stop in that game.
Yeah, I mean, look, I honestly look at that play, and it's like, yeah, I get it. Should probably use more design runs with Drake Maye with the way he runs the ball. Ramondre Stevenson should be able to pick up a yard on that play. And even when the blocking's not there, like, Stevenson is 6 feet. He's big, strong lower body. Even when the blocking's not there, he's being paid, especially like a guy who should be able to pick up a yard even when the blocking isn't perfect. Like, I put that on Stevenson on that play to not pick that up. Like, he should be able to get that.
Yes and no. I mean, they lose a couple blocks up front. Leighton Robinson loses his block on both the third and fourth down.
I'm saying the blocking has been perfect all year, and Stevenson is a guy that even when the blocking's not perfect, he should be able to get 1 yard.
Well, to that point, so PFF's initial charting had, and their numbers were a little different than the NFL box score. I think they had one of those swing passes to Ramondre Stevenson technically is a carry. So take that for what it's worth. They had Stevenson and Gibson combined for 118 total yards yesterday. 100 of those came after contact.
I would have guessed even more.
They had Gibson 33 yards, 44 yards after contact. 11 more yards after contact than he had overall.
Yeah, I thought overall they were both. Gibson had a really good game.
Gibson had a really good game.
Stevenson, outside of that one play, which got him the old thumbs down from me. But like, other than that, they had a good game. I thought they ran hard. I thought the running game overall was pretty good. It was just the pass protection I thought was.
Did you have did you have a problem with them not running Drake Maye on the 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1?
I would have understood it if they did it on 4th and 1. I'm just saying, I'm not looking back at that play and saying they had to run Drake Maye. They had to do the quarterback sneak. Where it's just like Stevenson, like I know the blocking wasn't great, but it was there for him. He got stuffed at the line. He could have powered ahead, and I thought he didn't do enough on that play.
Should we do the Mayo comment now, or I don't know if you want to set that while we're talking about it?
While we're on the play, we can get this.
So I just want to read the transcript of it, just because I want the context adds to this. And so let me put it this way. I've come in here. There's been, can we call these Mayoisms? What are we calling these things?
I mean, they deserve their own thing,
right?
It's its own entity.
He says whatever after the game, calling the team soft.
Mayo being Mayo,
right? Mayo being Mayo. The thing about once they cross the white line, I'm calling them Mayoisms. I don't know if we want to.
I've been telling you off the air, and it's on my article at 985thesportshub.com. It's the classic meme with Hagrid from the Harry Potter movie saying, "I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that." Like this is Mayo every single week now. It's crazy.
Of all of these incidents, like I've come in here on some Mondays, and it probably sounds like defense to some. I don't mean it as defense, but more like I understand what he's saying. Maybe shouldn't have said it, but I get it. Or like when you add the context, it's not as bad. This one, the context adds to the weirdness of it. I don't know what the hell was going on here. So here's the transcript. Question. Did you consider talking about those, the 3rd and 1, 4th and 1? Did you consider running Drake Maye? It's a short yardage situation and he can run. Jerod Mayo, you said it. I didn't. Then that's it. Then there's another question that's unrelated. And then afterwards, another follow-up. In response to that question and the answer, you said it, I didn't. Does that mean it was Alex Van Pelt's decision not to run Drake in that situation? Mayo, it's always my decision. The quarterback obviously has a good pair of legs and does a good job running the ball. We just chose not to do it there. And then Mayo comes out this morning, and I won't read the transcript of this one because it's a little bit longer, but he basically says, I didn't mean anything by that. It was more of a defensive response. I tried to clarify it with the follow-up question. Ultimately, those decisions are mine. I just wanted to get that out there. And then he reiterated later he didn't mean anything by it.
Yeah, he had to answer for the answer during his video conference. Exactly. Like, what'd you mean by defensive response? What'd you mean?
Yeah, he had
he can't help himself.
This is a follow-up question. What do you mean by defensive response? I didn't mean anything by it.
Sorry,
I just was like, you said it because I didn't want to go down that whole rabbit hole. This is the transcript. of trying to explain all of those things. Like I just said, I tried to clarify that with the follow-up question, saying that all of those critical situations fall on me. So again, I've come in here at times and said, I get what he's saying. You shouldn't have said it, or it's, coach speak. That one, that's the worst one. The soft one, the white line one, all of that's the worst one.
Well, the soft one and the white lines, it's like, well, he wasn't wrong about what he said. It's just, You shouldn't say that. That was the argument with these. This was, it's like, you shouldn't say it, and I don't even know what he's trying to say.
I don't know what the hell that was. And
I feel like he's just misusing like the turn of phrase, where it's like that turn of phrase is used in a different context, usually. But it came off because he used it in this particular situation. It came off like, well, no, yeah, everybody knows how much Drake can run. Like, why doesn't Alex Van Pelt know that? Like, that's basically what it came off of. But I don't think he meant that. I think he just misused the turn of phrase.
I can't. It's him. It comes across as him saying like, well, I can't say that we should have run him there. Because then it sounds like I'm throwing Alex Van Pelt under the bus.
It's like, well,
you said what you said, and I'm not going to disagree with it.
Well, we just got to see the forest for the trees, And it's like, what? What are you saying that for?
I don't know. That was a weird one. That was that one. I was lost on that one.
Worth two in the bush. Penny saved is a penny earned.
Yeah. There's a great Family Guy bit like this where like he keeps trying to use a phrase the whole episode.
Nipples and dimes. I mean, nickels and boobs. Money. Remember that one?
Not quite, but all right. Anyway, that was my thought on that. You mentioned the pass protection, not even pass blocking, but when we talk about the offensive line in the pass game, Ben Brown not being able to get the snaps back kind of made me look like an idiot, because I was on Friday talking about how, with my boyish charm, as Jim Murray says, I didn't want them to replace Ben Brown with Cole Strange because Ben Brown was playing well and there was continuity there, and don't do that to Drake Maye. Well, if you can't even get the ball back there, you can't have him in the lineup. So
he was going bowling on a couple.
Yeah, I don't know what. It's another one where like a guy that was playing well and had put together a couple of good games comes out of the bye, and then you get that. Just another weird thing from this game.
Yeah, I mean, like, what are you going to do at this point? Is Cole Strange going to turn the offense around because he can snap the ball?
No, they just want to see what he looks like at center, so they know how invested they have to be in getting David Andrews' replacement this offseason.
I get that. Do they have to do that over the whole last month? Like, I could see them.
No, and that was my whole point.
To slowly ramp him up, like he's now available, or like he's fully healthy, he's practicing in full and all that. Now maybe we can get him into a game. I didn't see them having to throw him right in there, but yeah, Ben Brown bad game yesterday because it's his number one job is to snap the ball.
Did you have him on the downs?
I didn't put him in the downs. No,
I got yelled at for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Whatever.
Somebody thought I'll yell at Barth. That's fine.
I mean, I didn't give him an up. I mean, yeah. No, like I went back and rewatched and I was like, oh, that snap was bad. I forgot how many bad snaps there were, honestly.
Yeah. But they were like early. They were kind of back to back.
Yeah.
Credit to Maye. First one, handled, picked it up. No panic. Right out to Ramondre Stevenson.
I think that's why it was sort of forgettable, because like the quarterback, who's very talented, sort of just made up for it.
And it wasn't forgettable for me. Everybody reminded me what I said on Friday.
Oh, okay. All right.
I had thanks to Ben Brown for that one. But any other thoughts on the offense?
I mean, they're not getting enough out of their receivers. Kayshon Boutte loses that ball and then has no accountability.
That's right. Yeah, the interception.
He has no accountability after the game. He said the throw is a little low. I think that's a little bit of a reflection of Mayo and his whole style, the lack of accountability and the things he says after the game. I feel like that's bleeding over to the players, and I didn't like Boutte's game or what he said after the game.
The throw is low, so you go low, so the safety doesn't take your head off going over the middle. Like, is it a low throw in the catch frame? Yes. It's a good job by Drake Maye to protect his receiver. It's almost this exact same play from the interception from the Colts game, where he throws it low because there's a linebacker there on the goal line and he doesn't want Hunter Henry to get rocked. Mm-hmm. So he sits him down, and Hunter Henry goes low for the ball, and it's just a chemistry thing. And now Hunter Henry, I'll give the benefit of the doubt because he's been great this year, right? And he actually made a play on the ball where, like, I think he recognized what was happening. He literally just didn't make the catch. Whereas Kayshon Boutte tries to like shoestring that and keep running with it, which no, he's trying to sit you down in the zone so you don't get lit up. So it's another one where I think that was his 10th pick of the year, right? Maye?
I'm not keeping count, honestly.
So now I think he's
second one in a row that's not on him, though.
Right. I think he's now at that Alex Van Pelt number, but these last and outside of that, he had one spray miss, which we hadn't seen that kind of spray from him for a while. So look, they're going to pop back up here and there. You hope it is just that, right? You hope it's just here and there.
Maye had one play where it was another third. I think it was 3rd and 1, where I thought it looked like he had Austin Hooper wide open for just a quick little pass over the middle, but he holds the ball, tries to run it, and then he gets tackled behind the line. That was the one play that really stood out to me where it's like he could have made a better decision.
But it was like
overall, I thought he had a good game.
And by the way, he's at 9 interceptions, so he still has one more to play with before
they gotta like change the. You turn that into a fumble by the receiver or something. I feel like that's just so unfair to call those plays.
We got a little scheduling update for this week. Patriots Bills now at 4:25.
Oh.
All right. Interesting. Anyway,
how often do they do that?
What?
They move it from 1 to 4.
Yeah. Or no. This is This
is it because of division
I
stuff?
think it's because of because they want them playing
playoff scenarios
the same time as the Chiefs.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, there's some breaking news.
That makes sense. Okay.
Outside of that, like I didn't think he had the spray, but just I know the play you're talking about. That's misread, but he didn't put the ball in harm's way. He got hit a couple times. It didn't come close to fumbling. He got clocked on the one where Verdarian Lowe got blown by early.
Yeah.
Ball was fine. So
haven't been a lot
in that regard.
Haven't been a lot of throws, at least not yesterday, where it's like, well, we got away with one there. Like there haven't been. He's really cut back on those types of plays, which is a good sign.
Yeah. So that's the offense.
So one more thing. That fourth quarter drive right before the Kendrick Bourne deep ball.
Yeah.
And the shuffle pass touchdown. They run. Between that, before that deep ball, and between the deep ball and the touchdown, they ran almost 2 full minutes off the clock trying to establish the run, where it's like, I think they should have shown more urgency on that drive. And the fact that Drake Maye hit that deep ball is sort of exemplary of that. And it didn't matter because now I think we're probably going to get to the defense a little more going forward because they pissed the game away after that. But I feel like they should have shown more urgency on that fourth quarter drive. They might have had a chance to, make more plays and make that a closer game at the end. But that's my last thought on the offense.
How about the defense? We talked about Gonzalez already. He was excellent.
I mean, the third down is what bothers me more than anything. I think, Kyle Duggar missed a big tackle on that critical Greg Dortch catch and run near the end of the second quarter. Like, if they make the stop there, maybe the Patriots can go down the field and make it at least 10-6 at the half instead of 13-3. Like, I know that's not a huge swing, but I thought that was a critical moment in the game. At least at that point, it was still only 10-3 at that point. So other than that, I thought the tackling was okay. It's really the third downs where it's like, even that last fourth quarter drive, again, they make it 23-10. There's still like 8 minutes left in the game. I thought I wrote this down. But yeah, I didn't write down how much time was left in the game, but I think there was like 8 minutes left. They convert 2 third downs.
Yeah.
They run another 5 minutes off the clock and they finish it off with a touchdown where it's like, where's the situational defense? I feel like the defense saves its worst for these critical moments where it's like, you need a stop here. The offense actually made this game semi-interesting. Let's get a stop here and then see how this goes. And the Cardinals drive it right down their throats. That was the most disappointing part of the game for me, for the defense.
Yeah, I'll still just talk about the pass rush or lack thereof. 7 pressures. They didn't hit Kyler Murray once. This was another one of those games where, like the Jags game, you can send the jersey to the pro shop. Nobody would know the difference, right? And even the 7 pressures that PFF had them with, that felt high to me. I think some of that may have been Kyler Murray running into pressure when he scrambled, but it feels like they got Christian Barmore back. Again, Yannick Ngakoue is not the player he was, but when he started the year in Baltimore, like there were flashes of he could still be a not an impact player, but a representative player in the pass rush. And there's just been nothing. There's just been nothing from that unit, even with those guys in the picture.
Yeah, no, I mean, Keon White, I thought had a sort of an up and down game. He probably had a lot of those pressures that you're talking about.
2 or 3.
He got held on one play, but he also blew contain. Like every time they blew contain on the edge, it felt like it was
just
Keon White
flying up the field. Yeah,
like I feel like they went into that game with a plan where like we can run at Keon White. Like he's gonna try to get inside. with really no chance of actually getting to the quarterback, and we'll just hand it off and we'll run it. And like that's how James Conner and even Greg Dortch and like guys like that catching the little swing passes or little runs off the edge and like breaking off a big game because you gave up the edge. And it's like this was a problem in freaking September. Like why are we still doing this? And it's like I feel like from front to back, like the coaching just hasn't been there for the defense, especially when you compare it to last year. Like they dealt with injuries last year too. I know that they've had injuries this year, but like they got Barmore back. Jabril Peppers is back. Where it's like, I know Jawan Bentley was a big loss, but like you should have been able to figure that out by now. Like
no, they're getting guys back.
That out.
They're getting guys back. And look, I don't think Kyle Duggar's 100% at this point. You may want to get him off the field and put Marte Mapu back in there, but they've gotten a lot of guys back. I think that's a fair point, and they haven't been able to make plays. And talk about the run game. That was another one post-game, Jerod Mayo saying like, well, if you take out the run, even if you, all right, for the sake of the argument, take that run out. The running backs collectively still averaged 4 yards per carry, which isn't dominant, but that's
sort of a target.
That's a fine day.
That's like the benchmark you're looking for, right?
Yeah, that's a representative day running the football. So it's like, I think they ended up averaging like 5.6 with that run, which is really good.
Well, you take away the 50-yard run. They scored a touchdown. They got 7 points, Jerod. They finished that drive.
No, and I don't like the comment. Take it, but like, okay, fine. If we're going to play this exercise out, the run defense still wasn't great. It's better, obviously. It's like the guy who was like, somebody tweeted, and look, Travis Hunter rightfully won the Heisman, but somebody last week was like, well, if you take Ashton Genty's longest run from every game out, he has like this fewer yards and this fewer average. Meanwhile,
just take away all the plays.
Even if you take all those yards out from Ashton Genty, he's still the leading rusher in the country. But it was like, if you take out Ashton Genty's best runs, he's not as good of a running back. Yeah, but he's still pretty good.
If you take away all the touchdowns, how good is Josh Allen, really?
Well,
honestly,
you know how I feel about that. But anyway, that was my thought on the defense. Was like the third downs and the lack of the pass rush is glaring. I know, speaking to Travis Hunter, and we're starting to do more draft stuff, and people are getting excited. And what are they going to do about corner? I still think if they go defense, it's got to be a pass rusher.
Yeah.
We talked about Christian Gonzalez and maximizing him. And I said earlier, like, they have these two cornerstone guys, as you pointed out. They have these two cornerstone guys in Maye and Gonzalez, and they're still failing to be competitive, not just win, be competitive in these games. And how are they doing that? Well, Drake Maye, you don't have the offensive line to support him. You don't have the receivers. It turns into him becoming this very conservative quarterback. If you look at his passing chart today, very, very limited. And then on defense, I know some people, Travis Hunter, you draft him primarily as a corner, or you draft Will Johnson out of Michigan and opposite Gonzalez. So now here you go, you have this 1-2. And it's like you probably would have within a year or two, once that guy, Hunter or Johnson, like gets his legs under him in the NFL, you probably would have the best cornerback duo in the NFL, certainly top 3. But I don't know that you need that. Like
they do not need that.
We've talked about it, and that's not to say it would be bad, but like we've talked about it. Can you go get like a Jason McCourty type in free agency to just go opposite Gonzalez and be steady? The real way to maximize Gonzalez is to build out a pass rush, because the one knock on him right now, and I think it's an unfair knock, but it might explain why he's not as highly regarded in this like Pro Bowl, All-Pro conversation. His on-ball production isn't great. He did have the 2 pass breakups yesterday, but that's kind of rare for him. Usually it's just not thrown near him. And some of that is these quarterbacks have time, and they see that guy's covered and they go to the second read and they go to the third read.
Not Kyler Murray.
Or not Kyler Murray for whatever reason, but all the other quarterbacks
keep slugging it, baby.
Or they have time to set their feet and like actually get, put the ball in the position where it's probably going to be incomplete, but Gonzalez can't make a throw on it. If you start turning up the heat, for a lot of quarterbacks, when they get pressured, their first instinct or an early instinct is, well, all right, I know my top receiver's over here, so I'm just going to throw it over there and hope he makes a play. And that's where you start to get that on-ball production. If you want some of this lockdown coverage to start turning into interceptions, the best option is not to get a corner on the other side and force teams to throw it more. The better option, and I'm not saying that wouldn't work, but the better option to me is build out a pass rush. And now you're going to have more quarterbacks just kind of rushing, hurrying, off-balance throws, inaccurate throws, not thinking it through, targeting him, and then he's going to have a chance to make a play on the ball. So I think as we're talking about building up this defense, and this can be as a philosophy on the defense as a whole, just using Gonzalez as a jumping off point, I think they'd be, if we're talking about where the resources are going in the offseason to fix this, they do need a second corner. They do, especially when with size, a guy that can play on the boundary. I've talked about Carlton Davis in free agency as being an option, or maybe you get a guy later on day 2 of the draft. If you're going to spend one premium resource on defense, to me, it should be a pass rusher, not a corner.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Edge rusher is the number one need for,
you're a
for the defense.
You just want line.
I am a sizist. Well, I mean, get me a nice 6'6", 290, 300-pound edge rusher. I'm going to get excited
300
about
that. Have it Abdul
all right,
Carter's like
285.
Big Nick Scorton guy over here.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm throwing numbers out there, Barthy. But yeah, no, like, look, you could talk me into Will Johnson because I think Will Johnson's going to be a great player. I just think that would be a massive redundancy. And to your point, like they had a great pass rush last year, and like that allowed them to sort of get by without Christian Gonzalez, who was injured. And so like you sort of want to marry the two. And like I feel like they have the coverage against the top receivers right now because of the way Gonzalez is playing. And I've been saying this for a few weeks now, I think on this very program, that you can get a big outside corner, a number 2 starting corner on day 2 of the draft. You can get it maybe even early day 3 of the draft, maybe not like a day 1 type of guy, but you can find a starting outside corner outside of, the top 3, 4, 5 picks in the draft. Like, I feel like I still want to go, tackle, probably still number 1 for me. Receiver, if there's a guy out there that's worth it, Tech McMillan, someone like that. But if they're going to go defense, got to go edge rusher. I would be totally fine with them going edge rusher with that first pick. Abdul Carter is a guy you've mentioned. I'm not an expert on the draft just yet, but like if there's a guy up there that's worth it as an edge rusher that you can plug right in and immediately make an impact, like that's the number 1 need for the defense. And like whether it's free agency, draft, I feel like that's the top spot that they need to address on that side of the ball. And I feel like they can find a starting outside corner without having to invest too big of their capital in it.
So just so you know, of the top edge rushers, and there's like 4 guys that are expected to go high: Abdul Carter, Michael Williams, James Pierce, Nick Scorton. Outside of Carter, they're all probably trade down scenarios, which I also am not ruling out a trade down. Carter, Williams, and Pierce are all outside linebackers. They're all like 6'3" to 6'6", 250, 260. Nick Scorton is the one that's more of like a true defensive end. He's 6'4", 280. So you're going to have to live with 280.
All right.
If that's the way you want
280 is good for a 6'4" guy. 280, that seems like he's got some bulk.
I was actually surprised looking that up. I thought he'd be more than that.
Yeah, no, we're in an era. No, we're in an era where the edge rushers are a little smaller.
Right, so you're just gonna have to live with 280 on the edge, and you're gonna lock yourself into Nick Scorton right there. Speaking of, Nick Scorton won't be in the college football playoff because Texas A&M completely choked against Texas. But college football playoff starts this week. I will have later this week. It might be up Wednesday. I haven't decided exactly when I want to post it yet, but keep an eye out on 985thesportshub.com. 1 player to watch from every team in the college football playoff for Patriots fans, draft-wise. So I'm going to make you on the spot right now, so I have an excuse to plug this in. We get content out of it. Who you got in the college football playoff?
You're going to tell me the teams again. I don't even know who's in it, honestly.
This was supposed to be the fun of the exercise. You just try to figure it out on the fly. Come on, some of these teams. You've watched a few games this
North
year.
Carolina. Is Bill there yet?
Not yet. Next year. You can pick North Carolina next year. I might. Blue Bloods, come on.
Well,
you got Oregon, Georgia, Boise, and Arizona State with buys. Ohio State, Tennessee, Texas, Clemson, Penn State, SMU, Notre Dame, Indiana.
I'll root for Texas.
Taking Texas?
Yeah, I'll take Texas.
All right, Dolphins, Texas in the college football playoff.
Idiot.
So my take preseason was that Ohio State was going to win the national championship. I said they would do that in spite of head coach Ryan Day, because I thought the roster was too good. I thought it was Ryan Day proof. It might not be after watching that game against Michigan. Oregon clearly looks like the best team, but I'm going to stick with my preseason take because then I can say I was right all the way through the year. So I'm going to take Ohio State. I do that knowing it will probably be Oregon, but I'm going to take Ohio State to win the whole thing.
Hand up. I didn't know Oregon was even that good.
Oh yeah.
National championship.
Dan Lanning's best coach in college football right
Ducks
now.
Are fun. That's fun.
What'd you think? Actually, you'll have a good take on this. So you saw the whole hoopla about after Michigan, Ohio State, the Michigan players planted their flag and there was the whole brawl and everything.
Yeah.
So did you see some senator, congressman, I don't know, something in the state of Ohio is putting forward a law that would make it illegal to plant any flag at the center of the stadium?
Yeah, no, it's a classic politician waste everyone's time and money.
Try winning the game, and then they won't plant it.
I loved your take. I heard you when you were filling in the program. I was like, they do absolutely everything they need to do to stop them from planting the flag, except winning the effing game. This is just
Basically.
insane. Yeah, like beat them. Yeah, beat them, and they won't plant the flag. Or you could pull a Terrell Owens, like just tackle him because he's, remember
Right.
Terrell Owens.
Well, they tried to.
ball on
Jack
the
Sawyer
Cowboys
tried
logo?
to do that. Your guy Jack Sawyer tried to do that.
Oh, they gotta draft him then.
I
Patriot.
I kind of liked it, and it's like I don't love a guy starting a fight after the game, like win the game, but also like a little bit of that nasty streak where it's like I don't care, you're not planting that flag on our field. They could use. I'm sure he's a very nice guy in person. They could use that guy who's kind of an a-hole on the field like that. They could use that.
I'm gonna sue you.
Him,
You
Barmore,
planted the flag. I'm gonna sue you.
him, Barmore, Keon White up front. You're gonna have a rough day as an offensive lineman going against those three guys for 60 minutes. Anyway, there's college football minute for you. Mix that in because I think we covered pretty much everything we need to cover with the Patriots, I'd say, right?
Yeah, well, one more quick thing. I thought, I'm pulling a Mayo here, but outside of the missed kick, I thought they had a decent day on special teams. I thought Schooler had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I could tell by the look on your face you don't agree.
No, I just thought it was a funny way to.
I didn't think.
To
I know to close that up. I thought the onside kick wasn't terrible. Like
it was a good onside kick.
They missed the initial recovery. They could have pulled that out, but it was, it's just the defense blew it again. Like they didn't have a chance at the end of that game because the defense couldn't get a stop when they needed it.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Joey Sly because they bring in John Parker Romo. So okay, you have competition there. He's on a 1-year deal.
I don't know, Jim.
Yeah, Romo just screams clutch. That's what you want in a kicker. They bring in another kicker.
Can he hold? That'll be my question.
He's got a he's a pending free agent. I'll say this. There is going to be a kicker on the list of players to watch in the college football playoff for Patriots fans.
Oh, okay. All right.
Keep an eye out for that on 985thesportshub.com. If you missed any of this show live, you want to go check it out on Sports Hub YouTube page or Sports Hub Patriots audio feed, wherever you get your podcasts. You'll get this show there. You'll also get audio with players and coaches on the station. And make sure you check out 985thesportshub.com for more content. You can follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Dolloff. You can follow myself at Real Alex Barth. We will be back next week, I think. I want to make sure because Christmas week might be weird. Playing this live. No, you're good next week, right? It's like the day before Christmas Eve. You'll be in next week on Monday?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be back Monday, 12:30-ish, 1 o'clock-ish, same time, same place. We'll talk to you then. Have a good week, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye.